Hey everybody, Jeff here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 keys to teaching your kids to explore. Hey everybody, welcome back to Fun Size Adventures, the show all about finding creative ways to get your kids outside to teach them how to explore the world around them. A couple weeks ago I made a video about how to get your kids outside, and we took a little adventure in the yard here, and that video was well received by you guys. And as I was editing it, it made me think of there's some areas I'd like to expound upon. So today we're going to be specifically talking about 5 ways to teach your kids how to explore and to foster that spirit of exploration in your kids. So when I look back on my own childhood and try to think of some of my favorite memories of getting out and exploring and going on adventures, I can't help but think about this one particular adventure we'd go on all the time that my dad would take us on. And I grew up in your typical suburban neighborhood in New Jersey. We're blessed here to have some woods around on our property to explore with the kids, but we lived on a little quarter-acre lot, just houses and houses, a lot of older people. One of those neighborhoods that nothing exciting happens in. But my dad found just up the road, just a couple hundred yards away, this little opening in the trees that we would go down, and it was just kind of this little tiny path that would just bring you to this cliff, and then we wouldn't fall down the cliff. That's the important part. There was this little trail that wound around to the side and kind of went down this embankment, and that led down to the Delaware River. And there was this little tiny patch of land where a creek flowed into the river that made this little peninsula, and we would just go down there and explore, and we would do different things. We'd wear our old shoes sometimes so we could play in this creek. We'd build dams, we'd do all this fun stuff down there, and that's probably one of my favorite memories of getting out and exploring when I was a kid. And me and my dad would go, my brother would go, even my sister would go sometimes. And so I just wanted to look back on that memory and try to break it down into the 5 keys that made that a great adventure and made it something that I remember to this day. So let's take a look at the 5 keys that made that a great adventure and taught me to explore. And hey guys, remember, if you want to see more videos like this and get more tips on how to get outside and fun things to do with your kids, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Key number 1 is it was close to home. If this was a big adventure that we had to get in the car and drive, I don't think it would have happened. It definitely wouldn't have happened as often. So key number 1 is that it was close to home. And you might think, I don't have any place that's close to home. Well, unless you happen to live in that exact neighborhood, it's not close to your home. I don't even live in that neighborhood anymore. If you do happen to live in that neighborhood, that would be a little bit interesting to me, so leave me a comment. But I just encourage you to get outside, look for these little nooks and crannies of unexplored woods or anything that I'm sure you could find something nearby to your house, unless you live like in the inner city. But even then, there's like public parks and stuff. I'm sure if you just within a quarter mile of your house, I'm sure you could find an amazing spot to take your kids exploring. Key number 2 is that this felt like a secret adventure going down this trail. It seemed like in all the time we went down there probably dozens and dozens, if not 100 times. And I can only remember one time that we ever ran into another person down there. And that kind of added to this idea that we were far from home, even though we weren't. And it just made it seem that much more exciting as a kid. And I think that's plays an important role in it, in just making it seem like a giant adventure, even though you are so close to your house, and making it stand out in my memory. Tip number 3 is that it was unstructured. Yeah, we would go down this trail, it was a hike, but it wasn't structured to the point where, like when you take your kids hiking somewhere, you drive to a spot, you park, the trail is 1 mile long, you walk a mile, you walk back, everything's spelt out for you already. But where that can be an adventure, especially when it's somewhere new, there's a certain element of exploration when there are no rules. You're just gonna get into the woods and you're gonna, like I said, sometimes we would build dams, sometimes we would walk in the creek, sometimes we would do other things. There was an open-endedness to it, and that fueled that spirit of adventure and led to fostering a spirit of exploration. Tip number 4 is that it gave a sense of danger without actually being dangerous. Because I just want to stress, I'm not talking about putting your kids in dangerous situations. You always want your kids' safety to be first. And like I said in the story, even though there was a cliff, even though there was a river, we were never put in danger. And that's a big part of this key, is that there was enough danger to seem exciting, but it was always at arm's length. We were never in direct danger. And that sense of danger helped make it that much more exciting and drove us to explore further. But we were never, like I said, we went down there dozens and dozens of times and nobody ever got hurt other than maybe a skinned knee, something that could happen anywhere. If you want me to drop some statistics on you, 90% of all accidents occur in the home. So just by being outside of the home, this was inherently more safe. So keep that in mind. So as I was editing this, I realized that I was doing a very poor job of explaining this point. And I just want to reiterate, never put your kids in danger. Always keep them safe. What I was trying to say was that you want it to seem a little bit dangerous from a kid's perspective. But as the adult, you want to make sure you're always in control of the situation and your kids are never in danger. So I just want you to keep that in mind and stay safe while you're out there exploring. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. And tip number 5 is that it was a shared experience. Like I said, this is something me and my dad would do with my brother and my sister, and sometimes we'd bring different friends, and it was just good quality family time together. And we would just kind of take it as it came and decide to do what we were going to do when we got down there sometimes, and just wouldn't be afraid to not do the same old every time, but try to find something new, something different, something exciting, something to explore. Okay guys, so just to recap those keys. Number 1, start close to home. Number 2, it was kind of a secret. Number 3, it was unstructured. Number 4, it gave a sense of danger without being dangerous. And number 5, it was a shared experience. So I hope these tips help you and inspire you to get out and teach your kids how to explore and to get out in nature and to just take the path less traveled. You got to remember that following laid out structured adventures are fine, but sometimes where the trail ends is where the adventure begins. So anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the time you spent watching this video, and like I said, I hope it inspires you to head outside and have some fun-sized adventures of your own with your kids. All right, bye-bye now.